I'm at 6740 Hurd Avenue in Madisonville, Cincinnati, Ohio, doing a sanitary lateral inspection for the purchase of a home. We're looking for any structural issues, basically anything that would be of concern to the buyer. Our access is an outside clean out in the rear of the house, and I'm not sure if this goes around the house or out to a side street. The backyard is only about 10 feet deep from the back of the house to the fence line. And this clean out is like right in basically the center of the house, just, not even a foot off the back wall of the house. You can see here's the back of the house, and you can see here's the clean out right there. It's cast iron on top, but the pipe itself down there is clay. And so I'm going to try to see if I can go back upstream a little bit, just to see. But we don't have to go too far because this is above ground in the crawl space on this side of the house, so you can actually see the plumbing after it. Trying to see if it'll go, but it does not want to. There's a little bit of a sweep in the line, so it's not wanting to let my camera go through, but you can see that's where the PVC starts. And so there's really nothing to look at. Everything from there is, you can see where it comes down, where that connection is, and that connection looks good, so that would be the biggest. I'm sure there's a fern co on there. That looks like a pretty level connection. So now we're going to pull out where you saw that PVC. That's where it's above ground, everything upstream of that. So that'll be inspected during the home inspection. And so now we're going to go downstream, or out towards the street or out towards the main, and of course there's some dirt down in here because of the way this clean out is. I'm going to have to try to go in here because it looks like there's a bunch of debris in here. I'm going to go and try to run some water through here and see if I can get this kind of rinsed out a little bit so that I can get my camera through. So I'm going to pause the video and go do that. Okay. So we've got the water going. Hopefully that'll help get the camera through here. It looks like there's a large amount of debris in here, which is probably from this clean out, just because it sits open, or it could be sitting open, or does have a crack in it. So what I'll do is I'm going to push all the way out with the help of this water. Now this does look like clay. Obviously it's going to be clay all the way out, but the thing we normally see, the most common thing we see in clay lines is root intrusion. And so that wouldn't be a surprise, but so far everything is looking really good. Okay, it looks like this is dropping into 6-inch clay and making a turn. And now I'm not sure what this is doing here, but probably going to have to go take a look. I'll have to turn the water off at least when we pull back, and that way we'll be able to see better. But I'm not sure where this line is running either. But we do have, it looks like a large brick in the center of the line here. so I can get past it, but I'm going to have to take a look at that because there's a tie-in. So what this may be is I may be in a main already. I'm going to have to pause the video and get a locate and see what's going on here, because this looks kind of strange and there's already a tap going into it, so it's either storm or, with me being out 50 feet, this is a shared connection or a main, a sub-main or something that we've already gone into. So we're going to check on that. Alright, so this is on the side of the house. If you're facing the house from the street, it's on the right side of the house, but there's no water getting through to here. I believe that has to do with that brick. I'm going to continue pushing out, and hopefully I can get out to where this ties into the main. But the concerning part is that we're not getting any water in through here. Now all this line looks great structurally, but the weird part is that we're not seeing any flow through here. So I think where that stops is an issue due to the fact that it's definitely blocking something. There, that looks like maybe a clean out right here, about 84 feet. Plug in the line there. So yeah, the concerning thing is that we don't see any water coming through here, and the water is going through the line. It's not backing up into the clean out in any way. Really sure we should be getting close to the main here pretty soon. Looks like we're getting ready to dive into the main. All the way at the main, but we don't have any water for most of that. Now most of that line looks really good, so the problem here is we have to wonder where in the world all this water is going to. So I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to check to see where we are, and then we'll come back and see what we've come up with. Okay. So, this is the main where it comes all the way into the main in the street. But again, we don't have any water at this point. I'm going to turn the transmitter off. And so, it is already out all the way on the other side of the street. And so, from 137 feet there, all the way back to that brick, seems to be in good shape. I mean, can't get the water to it, but I don't see any root intrusion, don't see any damage. So the majority of this line looks great. But from about the center, from the side of the house, if you're facing it, it's coming around the right side of the house, and then when it gets about halfway between the rear and the front of the house on the side there, that's where we find that brick, and that's where the water seems to be stopped and leaching out somewhere else. Okay, we're starting to get a little bit of water flow, most of it. Seems to be stuck. We've been running water for quite a while, so it must have finally been building up around that brick and slowly leaking halfway past. But I thought we were somewhere around 50 feet or so when that happened. We should be getting pretty close to the front of the house. We should be getting relatively close. Got to be getting pretty close to that brick here, but all this line looks really good. There's where that tie-in is from the house. Now this did used to be a two-family, is what it looks like. Here was that brick where we had the opening, and I can't really see what's going on there, but it's right around in here. Blockage. See if we can get right up next to it. There's that large, and here it is. And that's where all the water's building up. And so, you can see, can't tell if it's broke, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop here. I'm going to get a locate here, identify exactly where this is, and then I'm also going to turn the water off so we can try to get that to drain down, and maybe we can get a better look at where that is. But the water's even having a hard time getting around all this. This is going to have to be possibly dug up and removed because of how large that block was. There's really may not be another way to get that out. So I'm going to pause and get a locate. Okay, we've turned the water off, but this spot here is at it's 7 feet. If you're facing the house, it's 7 feet off the right side and about halfway back between the front and rear of the building. It's approximately 2.4 to the top of the pipe, so roughly 2.5 feet to the pipe. And I know you can see in the front, on the way out, you could tell on the camera that there was some, what this was. It looked like a big old brick. You can see as I'm pulling back that it looks like a full brick there. As the water kind of builds up at this spot in that brick, that the water's not really escaping well past that point. It took a while for it to build up and escape. And so there's a bunch of buildup behind it. And so I believe that that's going to have to be dug up and repaired. If not, I mean, when you get some stuff in here, this is going to become, you can just see, I don't know what all is damaged down there below. It's a wonder that my camera was able to get past that spot. It looks like it's also, if you look in the bottom left hand corner, you can see the angle of the camera, and it's about a 14-degree uphill. The water will overtake it, but the good news about this is it's only 2.5 foot deep. So all this buildup that's mainly caused by that brick, you can see that if you were able to get that brick out of there, I think that a lot of this stuff that looks like a buildup would probably be able to be cleared. But it looks to me like you would probably have to open the pipe up to get that brick out. It would be pretty tough to probably push it all the way down to the main to get it out of there. But it seems to me that the rest of the pipe looks pretty good. I mean, you know, this spot right here I think is where we have some debris at this turn. Now it's hard to really say on this kind of stuff because of the turn that you have there's an edge. It doesn't look like, I mean, it's a little bit of an opening there. It looks like some stuff coming in from the side, so there is, that is open to the ground. So I'm also going to mark that because you can actually see through to the the sides where that piece is broken off where it used to meet. So I'm going to actually mark this too here, about 27 feet basically. It's 2611, so 27 feet there. And so I'm going to pause and locate this spot also. Okay, and this is right off the rear right corner of the house if you're facing it. And see, this is not causing any obstructions at the moment, but what will happen in these places, you can see how the earth is kind of seeping in right there at that connection. And so it could possibly cause a sinkhole, or if there is a backup there, the water will leach out and leave solids, and that can cause a backup also. This isn't by any means the most severe thing, but it definitely can cause issues with the line. And it's right where the line goes from a 4-inch clay into a 6-inch clay. And it looks like there's also a connection off to the right, probably an old downspout connection that is no longer being used. There is some some black corrugated pipe that comes off of that downspout, but it doesn't look like there's anything connected any longer to this, but I don't know exactly where that corrugated goes. But yeah, I mean, that part is really the only thing that I've seen structurally in the line. Everything looks pretty good. Debris here, so definitely want to have all this cleaned out. It's really hard to tell what would be underneath this spot here. There's an awful lot of debris. Looks like old cast iron and stuff, so maybe the interior was cast iron at one point and this is all what's left over, because this is at the base of the clean out, or it's just overall debris that has gotten down from inside, from this opening. But yeah, I mean, the line's going to have to be flushed out. That you can probably get flushed out, but then with the exception, or with the stuff going on with the what do you call it? With that brick, you know, you can't really flush most of that debris out because that brick, everything would just build up right there if you pushed it down. So going to have to either get that brick pushed down and out to the main and get it out of the line, or you're going to have to dig it up and cut the line and remove that brick. Makes you wonder how it got in there in the first place, but somehow it got in. The only openings I could tell were from some downspouts and stuff, so maybe that's where it came from. It does seem like it's off. This used to be a 2-family, it seems, and it looks like it's right off to the side of the old patio where the doors used to come out. And so maybe there was an opening or a connection there that we couldn't see because of where the brick was laying, but I'm going to recommend that be dug up and removed. And then I also recommend there at about 24 foot or so that also be repaired.
That break, that's not, that's just letting in earth. It could cause a sinkhole right there. Right now it's not causing a blockage on its own, but the house has been vacant for a while, I'm sure, and so you don't know how it's going to act when you start getting toilet paper and stuff in there. That will probably collect solids in that area. So yeah, the line looked, I mean, 99% of that line looked great, in great shape. You just have to remove the brick and fix that spot where the connection is broke, and the rest of the line looked great. It was very surprising to see no root intrusion at all with the trees that are around here. So again, most of the lines held together great. You just have to remove that, remove a piece of debris and fix that joint, and everything would be great. And the good news is it's pretty shallow, so shouldn't be a major undertaking. But that'll end the inspection at 6740 Hurd Avenue in Cincinnati, Ohio.